Hey guys, I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing great. So before I get into this video, I'd just like to ask you guys to please like, share, subscribe, and do all the YouTube things that needs to be done. So we would like to grow this platform and reach as many people as possible, as we will be discussing everything medicine. So to jump into this video, so do you want to study medicine? Right. So I have a couple of points I'd like to discuss over the course of a few days. And for today, I'd just like to discuss a few of them. So the first thing that I feel or believe that you should do is to determine if you actually want to study medicine, if you actually want to be a doctor. You find that a lot of us like the idea of studying medicine, like the idea of one day becoming a doctor, but we're not really sure what it entails. Right? We don't do the proper research at an earlier age or when we're still doing our earlier grades. Right? All we know that is one day we want to be a doctor and we want to help people, and that is a very noble, it's a very good reason why you want to study medicine. But doing the proper research is very important. We did a video not so long ago, and doctors were asked, in a first world country that is, doctors were asked, if you knew then what you know now, would you come back and still study medicine? Right? And almost 50% of them said no. Right? So you find that we jump into this space, we sacrifice so much to make it here, and yet we don't really know most of the times what we are throwing ourselves into. So I'd say that try to find doctors, right? Try to find medical students who you can speak with and get a raw perspective of what you're going to be jumping into, and not just what you think or how you think it's going to be, right? Because with regards to medicine, there is a very great part of it. I'm not gonna lie, there's a part where you feel so privileged to be around the doctors you are. You feel so privileged to be around the students you are with. You feel so privileged, man, to be around the technology that is available. You feel so privileged to know and study the human body and how you can help it. But there's also a side that is really not being discussed, right? And we have made this degree to be so glamorous, which it is. It is a great degree, but it's a great qualification. But we haven't really spoken and highlighted the bad parts of it. So a lot of people jump in without actually knowing, and then they have to be forced now to stay in that situation. So like I said, that they did this study and they asked doctors in a first world country if you'd like to remain, if you knew then what you know now, would you remain a doctor? And almost 50% of them said no. Now imagine how it is in a South African context, whereby the healthcare system is breaking apart, number one. Number two, one of the things that we never discuss is that most of us as healthcare workers are going to be dependent on the government for employment. It's not a lot of us who are going to be able to move out of the government into the private sector. It's one of the things that we don't discuss, right? And it's one of the, I'd say, it's not a mistake, but it's one of the uninformed decisions that we made, that when we try to shadow a doctor, you shadow a private doctor who's working at a nice healthcare facility, right, with up-to-date resources, up-to-date workers, up-to-date machinery, up-to-date medicine. Everything is just there, prepared for him or her to do the job well. And you sort of forget that even if you want to get to that place, you have to first be in the government sector. The minimum number of years you need to spend as a doctor at the moment in the government sector is about 3 years. You have to do 2 years internship, and you have to do the ComServere, right? So you find out that we are shadowing private doctors, right? And then we think in our mind that is how medicine is going to be. But then, since we're not doing proper research, you forget that we have to pass through now the government sector and see how broken it is at times, and see how sometimes our reasons for studying medicine, you realize how naive they are, how you can be so limited by the government healthcare system. And sometimes you realize how many times you have to put that aside to function, right? Which is a topic for another day. It's a topic for another day. One of the things that I realized working in hospital is that at times, right, you have to put that down to be able to survive. I think I'll explain this in another video properly, but you realize that as a healthcare worker, you're not going to be a superhero. There are going to be a lot of times where you can't help your patients, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be able to function with that. So those are the things you want to look into. So I'd say that go to a public hospital, right? Go to a government-owned hospital. Go there and see how the work area is, and ask the workers who are working there. Ask the doctors. Look at the environment of where you're going to be possibly working at after you finished your studies as a doctor. Find out the good and the bad from people who are actually in the field, and then make an informed decision, right? Don't make the decision based on an idea of how it's going to be when you're there, but make an informed decision of how you actually want to do it. So if that's the case, and you've done the spade work and you've done the research and you actually want to be a doctor, the second thing to do is to prepare early, man. One things I'm seeing from a lot of students, right, especially who are studying medicine, these people know what they want to study at an early age. They even know what they want to specialize in. I was shocked the other day. We were doing this other blog, and this lady was telling us that, man, she doesn't like this department because she has already a department that she'd like to do, and you try to find out how did she found out that she likes that department when we're just being exposed. Well, this is just our new years. This is our early years of clinical exposure, let me say. And you find that she did the spade work. She knows people who are healthcare practitioners, and she discovered that this was her particular department that she'd like to specialize in one day, and she knows that very early on. You find that there are people who from grade 8, they were telling you that my goal is to make it into medicine. So from an early age of grade 8 is that they're going to be doctors, number one. Number two is that they're already preparing for the competition that comes ahead. They already have a university preference, right? Because some of these people, man, get accepted into many institutions at the same time, and now they have the privilege of picking the university they want. They learn about the funding. It's important to know about the funding. Know how you're going to fund yourself for the entire degree. It's very early to do these preparations early on, so that when you are in it, you are able to excel in it. The other thing I'd like to talk about is getting the proper support and not being an island. One of the things that I think you develop while trying to make it into medicine is really becoming an island, because it's a competitive space trying to make it in. But I must say one thing that you can try to develop and learn is, right, having support in terms of people you can do the course with, right? So this is a degree, this is a qualification where it's nice to do it with a group of people, right? It's nice where you can study, and then after study you can come back and now discuss the content that you guys have studied. It helps cement the content more, and it helps also expose things you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. So having a sit down with people who are studying the same degree as you will help you now to kind of see your own gaps and spaces and things where you need to work on, right? So having the proper support academically, having the proper support from back home, and these are things that are gonna help you very much. So for now, this is what I'd like to leave this at, and then as time goes on, I'm gonna be talking about other things that I feel are important to kind of do if you want to study medicine. So for now, thank you for watching this video.